going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the replay, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. And this week, let me tell you guys, I got my guys in the building, and there's not many people that I consider to be my guys or just super legends. You know, that's kind of the best word that I can use to describe it. We have Marty Martinez and James Phelps in the building for today. You guys just have to wait and see. Just their banter, their stories, their experiences, the way that they present themselves, all the knowledge that they have. You guys are going to have your minds blown today. Let me tell you what. So I just want to say thank you, Marty, and thank you, James, for accepting this opportunity to be on the show. And I'm not sure why this says powered by StreamYard. I've been trying to change it. Let's see. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? Nope. Nope. It's just frozen. But it's okay. So we have a lot to talk about, and let me just say first and foremost that this month, if you haven't seen the video already, is going to be entirely dedicated to the service members of the United States of America. I've never served, so this is kind of my way of giving back to everybody who, all the countless sacrifices that they made, and just literally living day to day, being of service to everybody that lives inside of the United States. So this is my way of giving back to everybody. And I can't wait for everybody to really just listen to everything that they have to say for today. So thank you so much. But first, before we get started, you guys already know what we have to do. We're bringing back the Life's Little Instruction book right here. It's 511 suggestions, observations, and reminders on how to live a happy and rewarding life. And we flipped it open to today's page, which is number 278. Let me see if I can show you guys without it being all messed. All right, number 278. Don't expect money to bring you happiness. Number 278, don't expect money to bring you happiness. And this is a very, very important one because there's countless reasons why it's important. First of all, you need to take care of what you have right now in order for you to get more. Because how do you expect the universe, God, whatever higher power that you believe in, how do you expect them to give you the things that you want and the things that you're trying to manifest, but you're not taking care of the stuff that you have now, no matter how big or how small it is? If you have an older car, but it's real dirty on the inside, or you don't put the gas in that it needs to do, or you don't have oil changes or anything like that, what makes you think that all of a sudden you're going to be able to take care of something that, when you get your green card, what makes you think that you're going to be able to take care of that? It's not just going to change like that. You're still where you're going to be. So money, don't expect money to bring you happiness. You need to be able to take care of what you have, and you need to be appreciative of where you are right now in order for you to level up to that next level. So that's just one reason out of many that we can talk about on the show. That could actually be an entire episode in and of itself. But you guys already know what we have to do. We have James and Marty in the building. We are about to bring them on. James and Marty, what are you guys doing? Stop working on Lounge with Legends. It's time to come on the show, man. What is
Damn.
That is what I'm talking about. How you guys doing today?
Feeling blessed. Great to be here.
I love it.
It's a great way to end the day, being here with you. I appreciate you letting us come and spend some time with you and kick off the month.
Yeah, you guys are who else? Who else would I have rather than you guys to kick off the month? I'm dedicated to service members. Okay. Now, we have so much that we need to talk about in such little time. So if you guys don't mind, I just want to get right into it. Is that cool with you guys?
Roll.
Let's do it. Okay. So now, if you guys haven't seen Lounge with Legends, these fine gentlemen have their own television show on the E22 television network as well. And now I'm actually going to take a piece of your guys' show, and I'm going to give you a taste of your own medicine. So a big question that you guys always ask for the guests when they come on is this question: what does freedom mean to you? So I'm going to take a little bit of your style, and I'm going to serve it right back to you. So whoever wants to go first, the question is for both of you. What does freedom mean to you?
Go ahead, James.
I insist the guy with the duck in his corner should go first.
There's a duck in my corner.
Yeah, powered by StreamYard. You go first.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, so So we came up with that question because freedom means something different for each and every one of us, and you don't realize that there is numerous pithy PowerPoint platitudes about freedom and what it means to you, and really what it means to me is the ability to come home every night and spend time with my family. I joke now that I'm ballet dad, I'm dance dad, but honestly, I have now the freedom to do that, to come home and spend that because of the fact that I served my country and in these combat environments and missed all these Christmases and holidays and all this stuff so that our citizens could do this. And so we served in your army so that now I can do that. And that's what freedom means to me, is have that ability so that this weekend I can relax and have a Texas brisket that I'm going to make with my family as they play in the pool, and know that someone else now is providing that security blanket for me to sleep peacefully at night.
Amazing. Go ahead, try to top that one, James.
I had to lean forward in the chair because, I'm used to this still in the lounge. Marty gets these big moments. But, for me, it's very simple. First off, I want to say, Dano, I follow the show, love your show. It's an honor just to be here. That's the first thing I got to say. To be considered first in the month of July is an honor in itself. And for me, freedom it's simple. It's about being able to spend the time how I want to spend it with my family, surrounded by the people that I want to be surrounded by. So for me, it's about being able to walk into the other room and give my daughter a hug. It's the ability to go downstairs. Although I don't like this, my oldest daughter has a boyfriend right now. If you guys know a guy named Connor, let me know where he lives. But anyway, my daughter has the ability to jump in her car, drive to where she wants, and make a decision. I just went down the street. We picked up some food, and I was able to make a decision on what I wanted to eat. So for me, freedom is a choice, right? It's a choice. It's something that's earned, obviously. But for me, it's about being able to make the decisions and choices that I feel are necessary to live within my skin, surround myself around like-minded individuals. And then honestly, freedom is love. And that's it. That's all I got. That's it.
I like that. And you guys are very well-spoken, and you guys actually know what you're talking about because you served countless years. How many years have you both served?
Well, before we start that, Marty's older than I am. We got to make that clear. But together, combined, we've served over I think it's a century, right? A half a century of service. Yeah. God, half a century together.
And that's amazing. So there's a plethora of information that you guys have to offer. And I'm just so glad that you're able to come on today and share it. So there's a big topic that, it just came up right now, actually. Lou commented, luxuries we take for granted every day. James, you just said it, going into your car and driving wherever you want. Marty, you actually brought up another one as well, just jumping into the pool and being, having fun and what you do and to be able to be who you are. So this is my question for you guys. In all of your experience, because you have traveled around the world, what are some freedoms that, we take for granted here in the U.S. every day that not many other people have the ability to call freedom?
Ability to take a shower.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds funny, but having access to clean water. And I apologize. I don't mean this to ever sound like a guilt trip, but a lot of it is just, it's a reality. And so when we deployed during OIF-1 in 2003, I think we went from, once it kicked off in April, we went from April till roughly August before we had some semblance of a shower. And that was up in Baghdad with full kit, with our body armor and, running and chasing bad guys and wearing helmets. And you're basically utilizing baby wipes, and you don't have access to showers, and really nor do the locals. So it's not like it's a luxury that they had as well. Some people did, some people didn't. So having access to, when we were in Africa, having access to drinking water. So those luxuries are things that we take advantage And so there were a lot of things that when we were deployed, even for an exercise to the continent of Africa or the Middle East or even parts of Eastern Europe, if you couldn't get access to the internet on your phone or something, you're like, oh man, I can't get access to Facebook. One of us luckily would usually say, dude, that's a first world problem. And that kind of puts it back into perspective of look where you're at. These people don't have that. And so that's what I would say is just kind of, it gives you an appreciation for how good you do have it.
Mm-hmm. James?
Once again, the MOAC, and he's earning his name, the MOAC, but he's spot on. The bottom line for myself, the biggest thing that I tell folks is the infrastructure that we have in regards to getting rid of waste, getting plumbing, basic things, basic creature comforts. Those things are not readily available in a lot of other countries. And then ultimately just having this show right here, right now, right? We would not be able to have this gathering together in a lot of other countries. But for me, it's really about just like you said, the plumbing. For me, I got tired of, and this might sound vulgar, but I got tired of going to the bathroom in a plastic porta-john for a while, and then I got tired of just going out on the side of the road because that's what happens, right? And that's what people need to understand is, you go outside your front door and, everyone has an HOA probably in their neighborhoods, right? You have an HOA that keeps your streets clean or a municipality that takes care of those things. Well, when you step out in a lot of these countries that Marty and I have been in, there is no trash collector. You are, basically you can just go walk out your front door and there's just trash everywhere. So those are the kind of things that stick and resonate in me. And then ultimately, and I don't know if Marty agrees with this one, but for me, the biggest thing for me is smell. America just smells better. And I hate to say that, but I mean, it just smells clean. I can remember, getting out of the aircraft when the doors open to the aircraft. I can remember the air rushing in. I was like, that doesn't smell like America. And not that I'm trying to be stingy, but we smell good. So anyway, I don't know if you want to add to that, Marty.
No, you're right. I mean, every time that you go to certain places, once the aircraft doors open, there's a unique smell, and you're just, we're back. And
we're live.
Yeah, you're back in the shed, if you will. So
yeah, and these are some of the things that I haven't even thought about or I haven't even known about. Just walking outside and not seeing trash everywhere. So and especially the air. Every second of every day we need to breathe. So thank you for putting that into perspective for myself and maybe anybody watching right now that maybe they haven't thought about that either. So now, when it comes for fighting for freedom, okay, and this is going to sound like a general question because everybody knows the answer. So here's the question. Why should you fight for freedom? And there's the obvious answer where, oh, well, if you don't fight for freedom, then other people are going to take it from you, then you get conquered. But is there any type of ideas or maybe strategies or techniques that we should probably understand when it comes to fighting for freedom? And why do you choose to fight for your freedom?
You want to go first, Marty?
I fought for freedom because I can. I fought for freedom for those that couldn't, for those that wouldn't, so that those that weren't able to could actually grow up and live in our great nation. Because whether they knew it or not, they grow up. We are living in one of the greatest nations in the world, and the freedoms that we provide. And it's not just our nation. I want to get that perfectly clear. We say we are the greatest nation in the world, and I firmly believe it, but we are a nation of allies. And our allies, if you remember back to 9/11, we went back over and it was with our allies, our British allies, our Canadian allies, our Australian allies, et cetera, our Five Eye partners. We go through there, and that's why we fight for freedom, because there are people out there that are just total bad people. And so we go out there because we go do bad things to bad people so that they don't do that to you, Dano, and to all the people that are watching. That's why we go do that to those bad people while you sleep at night.
Wow. Very, very powerful stuff. James, all right, the next question, James, you got to go first because I don't know if I could even top the stuff that Marty's. And it's not about topping one another, but just it really makes you think, But go ahead, James, take it away.
No, Marty said it all on that one. Bottom line is I think majority of the folks that are fighting for freedom, they fight because others won't or can't. That's why I did it. I did it because I didn't want someone else to have to do it for me. It's one of those things. I have 3 daughters, and I think honestly, my mindset is I did enough fighting for all 3 of them. So that's the hopes that I have, But at the end of the day, if they choose the military as a course of action for themselves, I'll support that. But hopefully, the Phelps family will sit out the next conflict. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, Dano, one of the other things is we joined the military for duty, honor, country, God and country and all this. But then once you get into the military, and especially after shots are fired, you really start to serve and live for your brothers and sisters to your left and right. And it becomes for that. All the national strategic policies in the world don't amount to hill of beans. It is to that person to your left and right where you're entrusting them with your life and they're entrusting you with their life, because that's the only way a lot of times you're going to get out of that shit. There was times where, there's a lot of you fall asleep in a vehicle because there's just a lull in the vehicle. You've been up all night, you've done a mission, and the next thing you know, boom, there's an explosion. You're trying to figure out what's going on, but that somebody's there. There's Lamont, and Lamont knows exactly what I'm talking about because we got hit with an ID. Lamont wasn't with me, but he was there in our operations center making sure that we got the support that we needed to get our vehicles back to base. And it's our brothers to our left and right that make sure that we get what we need to get back home.
Wow. Truly, truly amazing. And just, I'm very humbled. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Just thank you guys for everything. I know a simple thank you just doesn't really do, justice to you guys. And that kind of brings me to my next point. If somebody, let's say if I wanted to show some more support, to all of the sacrifices that you've done, what can let me not say normal people, what can everyday people that haven't served in the service, what can we do to help you guys, once you come back or when you go away? Is there any major things that we can do that maybe we overlook on a day-to-day basis?
I think if you can reach out to shelters like Lamont with the Big Red Barn, and they help with the post-traumatic stress, because when we come back, we do have scars, which goes back to why James and I started Lounge with Legends, because we're not a bunch of broken misfit toys. We do have scars that need to be healed. Lamont Christian is over there with doing the Lord's work with Big Red Barn Retreat. And you got to, like you just saying, volunteer at a soup kitchen, volunteer to help our vets, volunteer wherever you can. Just type up, how can I help vets? Volunteer, and something will come up in Google. That's the biggest thing. You don't have to always donate in a monetary sense. It's very welcome, but your time is always welcome. That's huge. I think if you can help, again, I'm really plugging Big Red Barn because that's one of the greatest organizations that I've seen. If you can help there, that helps the suicide rates. That helps the homeless rates. That's what we call left of boom. Left of boom, meaning the boom is when the explosion's already happened. Once that explosion happens, you're in reaction mode. When you're in reaction mode, it's too late. How do you get before that? Left of boom is to help volunteer before that. Volunteer your time. That's the thing you can do. And so when you say thank you for your service, thank you for your sacrifice, that's where you can help with your service and sacrifice. I'll turn it over to James. Sorry.
Once again, no, but Marty's spot on, right? For myself, as far as words, just, I think I always call him Sergeant Major. He's going to get mad, but Sergeant Major's right too, volunteer. But I think you just got to show up, be present. When we ask, when we come home or whatever, the first thing I tell everyone is, it's kind of like my father and my uncle were Vietnam veterans. So they didn't get the same welcome home that we did. Let's be honest here. So my biggest thing is, the first thing you should tell me, honestly, just tell me welcome home, because here's the thing. Thank you for your service. I get defensive for some reason. I don't know the reason why, but if you just tell me welcome home, that means so much more to me than anyone else. As a matter of fact, I'm going to steal a page from Marty's book. I was reading this book, Walk in My Combat Boots, because Marty recommended it to me. And I turned to page, 323. And then I see my buddy there, Andy Wines. I say, oh my God, my buddy's in this book. But he's the guy that taught me, welcome home. Go to a veteran and say, hey, welcome home. Be present in their life. And then honestly, for me, when I got back, it was a little bit of reacclimating myself to the environment again. When we left, life stopped. Okay. It stopped. When I left, I had a picture of my daughters in my mind and how exactly they looked. When I came back 18 months later, they looked totally different. But for me, my mind was still back 18 months previous. So I was already playing catch up just to get back into my life. So, just do action. If you want to help a veteran, just be active with them. Do action. Don't throw us money. If you want to throw us money, you can, but don't throw us just, on the side of the road, we'll work for food. Don't just give out cash. Do action. It's about deeds, not words. And what happens is we get so many people, and I'm going to use this as a quick example and I'll get off my soapbox. But so many people say they support veterans, right? Mm-hmm. I own this one business. I actually had this person that was bragging about how they supported veterans and how they were able to give $30,000 in donations to this veteran that was homeless, which was great. But then when I went to them providing my service that I provide, they said, well, you're $50 more than their customer. I said, hey, look, it's about the service. We're here and I'm supporting other veterans. So, give us the same value that way. And, speaking of that, I hear many feet walking in. This is why I do what I do right here. I love it.
Amazing. And what's her name?
Alana. This is Alana.
All right. And then, that's amazing. And I know that's not by an accident that it happened, this many times. It just really reinforces the fact that everything that you guys have just said, that they are the reason that you guys continue to do everything day in and day out. Now, I want James to take this one because I believe he was the one that just mentioned this. But what are some of the biggest challenges veterans face when it comes coming back from the service and back home?
So for me, it was about coming back to, I had two daughters. Alana wasn't born yet. I had Taylor and Jenna that was born. And for me, coming back and then I left when my middle daughter, Taylor, was 2 weeks old. So when I came back, she was already almost 2 years old, right? So when I came back, she didn't want to have anything to do with me. So that hurt me. That was the one thing that actually hurt me, as far as like it physically took a toll on me. To this day, I feel like a failure as a father because of those times away from them. So I deal with those struggles every day. I don't know if Marty experienced the same thing. I'm going to run her real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah. For me, the biggest challenge coming back was shutting off. And it's shutting off, meaning like shutting your mind off, because depending on which echelon you're at, echelon meaning whether you're the ground pounder kicking in the doors, going after the bad guys, where I was at the beginning of, the war, to where I was as I transitioned out of the military, where I retired, where now I'm at the highest echelons, where I'm a planner, putting missions together, where now, we're putting guys that were like me into combat. You're constantly having to think. So you're working these 18, 20-hour days, 7 days a week for 13 months. And, oh, by the way, you have the prep time all before all that. So then you get home and you have the challenge of you get to reset for a little bit. But often the way our cycles go is you get to relax for a little bit, a couple of weeks, before you have to start to reset all your equipment. And then prep to deploy again. So you really don't get to relax and breathe. And then just doing that over and over, day in, day in, day out, it just messes with your psyche a bit because you don't get to relax. And so the joke now with James and some other people that know me is that I am now 6 months retired from the military and I still haven't fully unplugged because, guys, it's 3 decades kind of where I've been doing this. It takes a minute, but those are some of the challenges, and this, without getting into all the other, normal stories that you hear with post-traumatic stress, but those are some of the things that you wouldn't normally consider with, oh, I never thought about that, where, it's not that dissimilar from maybe like a CEO of a Fortune 500 company that's running these large companies and always having to go, when do you ever get to power down? And that's the things that we have as well, is you never get to have those moments.
Wow.
The other difference too, Marty, is, with Marty's, talking about, he's coming from an active duty perspective. Marty had an active duty perspective on this. And you can, I don't know if you agree with this, Marty, but every deployment is different. And when you come back, everything is different every time. It's not the same. It's not a plug and play every time. Just because somebody acted one way during the deployment the first time doesn't mean necessarily they're going to equal the same thing on the next deployment. My last deployment, I was actually in the National Guard. So I was a reservist. So the biggest struggle that I had coming back also between my family was I had to find a job, right? You come back. I left a job legally by law. They're supposed to keep the job for you. But let's be honest, you're gone for 18 months. Can you really expect an employee or employer to keep that same exact job and position for you? Yes and no. I came back. I was fortunate enough. I worked for a company called Community Innovations. I worked in a mental health facility, and go figure. That's how I know the MOAC, right? Anyway, I worked in a mental health facility, and bottom line is I came back and I had to find a new job because my HR position was no longer there. So I ended up becoming the corporate trainer. So anyway, coming back from a mobilization, unplugging, taking the uniform off, not wearing it every day is huge. So you come back from a deployment and next thing you know, your uniform's in the bottom of a tough box. So you only wear once a month when you go to AT or go into annual training or something like that, or just a drill weekend. So anyway.
Yeah, and thank you guys for sharing some of the biggest challenges that you face, because it's like you said, it's not going to be plug and play for everybody. Everybody experiences different things and they come back, differently. And just for you to have that transparency really means a lot, because we're really taking a step into your world, into your everyday world. And, this is some of the stuff that people need to really recognize going through their own life. Okay, you need to be more grateful for this, because there's these people, men, women, everything in between, that had every day, like I couldn't even imagine every day just really, am I going to make it back today? What's going to happen? Going into the unknown every day. And you guys have done that day in and day out. And I just really want to thank you for everything that you've done for us.
Hey, Dana, if I can share a passage with you that might help you with the psyche and the shift, it's something, if you don't mind. I know I'm getting old here. One of my readers. But
what are those?
Shut up, you. It's from John Steinbeck. I'm really old. I'm pulling out John Steinbeck, East of Eden, right? If Lamont's still on, he might remember I used this at my change of command speech. But I love this passage because he's talking about the true gift of being a soldier and kind of what it's about. And so it's from East of Eden. It's in the very beginning, and it's and I'll read it briefly, so I'm not here all day with you. But it's basically about Cyrus they're about to join the military. So so many things I want to tell you. I forget most of them. I want to tell you that a soldier gives up so much to get something back. From the day of a child's birth, he is taught by every circumstance, by every law and rule and right to protect his own life. He starts with that great instinct, and everything confirms it. And then he is a soldier, and he must learn to violate all of this. He must learn coldly to put himself in a way of losing his own life without going mad. And if you can do that, and mind you, some can't, then you will have the greatest gift of all. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's being a soldier it goes against a lot of things that you're taught. And that's why the things that we taught are called battle drills. You have to do this over and over and over. If you're doing this drill, turn, shoot. That way it's a mechanical instinct, because like it says, like Steinbeck wrote, you're always taught to protect yourself so that you don't die. And so by teaching yourself to do this, you actually are protecting yourself, but it's not normal to get shot at by somebody. So that's something that helps you get, I don't know if that helps you kind of with the psyche of what you gain from being a soldier with that. But
this is what I'll say about that. It was very powerful, 100%. But I think that's something that you need to read over and over so you can really start to understand some of the things that were mentioned in there. And, I'm the type of person, I'll have to read something 10 times just so it can get the full comprehension of what they're trying to say, the message, maybe even throw myself into those shoes to see, okay, I know exactly what he's talking about through imagination or through my own personal experiences. So right now we have to go through a commercial break, unfortunately. And I don't know if you guys have the same problem. I think you told me you did before, but the commercials that I have played from the word from the sponsors, I'm not allowed to play them anymore, or I shouldn't play them anymore because there's a copyright issue. So everything that I'm going to play right now is going to be something that Electric Revival has created. So we're just going to show you just a little sample of everything that we created. And, it's not self-centered at all. And I just want to show you guys, because the music for the other one, they're giving me problems saying that my video is going to be taken down, this and that. But you know what? Tech with all of that. So here's a word from the Electric Revival sponsor. And we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hello, hola, bonjour, ni hao. Keep in mind that brighter days are ahead of us, so always keep moving forwards and never backwards.
boom.
Yeah, hopefully they don't give me a problem with all the music and everything that's there, because if they do, then we're gonna have to snap some necks. But that is a-okay. So now everything that we're talking about, everybody's loving the first half of the show. Great first half, very powerful stuff, and we also have actions.
I know that guy.
Preach. And everybody, you guys are just killing it, man. And I told you guys it was going to be a legendary show because we were with the hosts of Lounge of Legends TV. Go check them out. Go give them a follow. Go show them some love because they just constantly support our program all the time. And I'm just really, really grateful that, you know, we crossed paths with each other. So thank you guys so much for that.
Absolutely. Now, and we were talking about, you know, it's the power of breaking bread with somebody. I mean, we have a lot of friends on social media, but the fact that we were able to break bread with you and what was that guy's name you were with? I forget his name. Not Lauren, but the other guy.
Oh, Sebastian?
Sebastian, was that his name? I forget the guy already. But
Yeah.
He's joking. He's totally kidding.
you and Sebastian, you know, breaking bread with you guys and having stories and getting kicked out of the restaurant because they had closed 30 minutes ago. It's powerful, especially in COVID. You know, it's so nice to be able to come together and just be together with people. So it's awesome.
You know, the thing that, you know, Dano, you do a great job. And, you know, we joke around about this because Marty and I are dinosaurs, right? And you're younger, but I was like, man, you're so much smarter than I was at your, you know, at your age. You're so much farther along in your years in advance. So, I mean, it was just great. It was a great opportunity for us to meet you. I'm still working on trying to get you to move to Raleigh. But anyway, we'll have that conversation separate. But, you know, the thing that I like, Dano, and I was thinking about this during the break, is, you know, you always provide value, and I follow your show. You provide value, and that's really what it's about. You know, you asked us, hey, you know, what can you do? Just keep doing what you're doing. Provide value, and, you know, just I guess I'm going to use Marty's line here. Just don't be an asshole. That's the key, right? It's too easy, right? But you're doing it. You're crushing it, man. So anyway, I love the commercial. If you don't know, we use them too. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't want to show that one because I don't know, you know, what you have, what special plans you have for that. But yeah, I just want to say, you know, and I'm going to top you guys off. Well, let me not say that. I'm going to cover it all up and say thank you, because seriously, everything that you guys do, I wish I could match up to you guys. So now let's talk about some of the questions that I've had written down, because these were downloads, and these were actually, you know, stuff that I've never asked anybody else before. Okay, so you guys are great storytellers, so I'm really excited to hear this story.
Oh, geez.
When you first went into, you know, your service, your terms and everything, what was your first, oh shit, I'm here, this is real moment? When did you really know, okay, like, I'm here, and, you know, there's no turning back?
I think it was when we were in basic, and it was probably within the first few hours, and the drill sergeants had us sitting down. What's the politically correct term now? Crisscross applesauce, I think my daughter says. And they wouldn't let us get up, and they were lecturing us and all that. And then I looked next to me, and I noticed there was a puddle for me next to the guy, and they were getting after him. Like, that guy, that grown ass man just peed himself. I was like, okay, shit just got real, you know? So it was pretty, I mean, it was funny, but it was, I was like, what did I just sign up for, man? Holy shnikes. But yeah, so that's when I realized it was what we had gotten into. And then again, once I volunteered to go to for the Ranger contract, that later that week, then they said, give me all the Ranger wannabes. And then they decided to show us some extra love, which didn't involve cuddle time, unfortunately. It involved lots of push-ups and more calisthenic type exercises.
Quality time.
Yeah, that's what there's an exercise called koalifying, which like a koala bear holding a tree, except you're upside down holding a tree. And you do that until, you know, you fall off. And then sometimes you do a qualifying put 'em pole. But that was way back in the 90s. I don't even know if they do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore.
But yeah, that's when I realized it just got real.
And then for you, James?
You know, for me, it got real when I was down at Fort Benning at Airborne School. I just did my first PLF, parachute landing fall, on Fryer Drop Zone, DZ. The exit the aircraft wasn't hard, but that very first landing that I did.
Hold on, James. You got a lot of, you got to set up what a parachute landing fall is.
Oh, when you land on the ground, it's feet, butt, head every time. Feet, butt, head.
So it's the technique that the military teaches us so that we don't actually hurt ourselves, or the best attempt. And it's supposed to be, you know, 5 points of performance. You put the balls of the feet, calf, thigh, buttocks, push-up muscles. But it is just like James said, feet, ass, head. So
Every time. I don't care. Sometimes you just skip the butt and just went straight to feet and head. So, but for me, the first one, it got real when I landed because I locked my knees reaching for the ground. And when I hit that ground, I played sports, I played baseball, I played some basketball, I played some, football here and there. But when I hit that ground that first time, I say, this is real. And the next time, and then from therefore on, I just did night jumps every jump. I had my eyes closed every time. Airbound.
Amazing. And thank you for sharing that, because I could only imagine how, scared or just uncomfortable you might have been in that situation. And, I could only imagine that's big time stuff. That's the big boy stuff. The stuff that we experience here probably doesn't even come close to that. So
it's funny though, is you have different, but then believe it or not, so that's your first time in the military where you realize it just got real. But then you have different, then that keeps playing out over and over. Like James said, then you got to airborne school. But I bet you James has another story where when he got to Ranger school, he had another one, right? When they were probably yelling at you, you got a impossible time to dump your bags, lay it out in a prescribed military fashion, which you're never going to make. And then they're just yelling at you. And then you're having another one of those, what did I just get myself into? So it happens over and over. And then like your first time in combat, when it gets real again, and depending on the situation, like for me, I try to diffuse everything with humor. And so I was laughing because I just came across, where did it go? I think it might have been one of my newspaper articles I just found because I'm cleaning up my office, is in the Washington Post.
I couldn't tell you were cleaning it up, by the way.
You couldn't?
No, look at that place behind you. Sorry, I had to say something.
But,
look at how nice this is. Look at that. Anyway, go ahead.
I know. I look like a Ranger Buca de Beppo's back here.
Beautiful mind. That's all I could say. A beautiful mind.
But the first time, one of the big first combat actions we had, it was funny because I was with my Ranger buddy, Brian Hollis, and we were fighting to take this bridge in a SAM wall, and we were getting shot at as we were fighting across the bridge. And I'm running, and I had given my knee pad to the Washington Post reporter that was embedded with us. And of course, as I'm running across, ching, 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 we're getting shot at, and I fall, of course, on that freaking knee. So I'm gushing blood and everything, but we didn't know my buddy didn't know at the time that I hadn't been shot. But he goes, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Good, because it was because you lost all your cool points back there, like a freaking Sonic the Hedgehog." I was like, okay, so it's one of those things where you realize, okay, shit just got real, but you're diffusing everything with humor, and it was, like I was whispering in his ears a moment before we went across the bridge, like about 10 minutes before that, the Pina Colada song, if you like pina coladas, so just all these funny stories where you're just, it's about to get real. So you're trying to diffuse the situation and just keep humor the whole time. And that's how you get through a lot of these things.
Wow. Humor, humor definitely helps me with my everyday life too. And I can only imagine, how could you try to be, humorous in a point like that? Did they ever train your mind to gather all your thoughts right before that happened, or are you all all over the place just before it happens?
If you have good leaders, the good leaders will teach you how to hunt the good stuff, how to find humor in everything, rather than just being that jerk leader that's always in your face and yelling. Because I've had those that were always just like just yelling and just belittling you. But the good leaders will teach, coach, and mentor you. You see Lamont Christian blowing up, coming in here. He's one of the best leaders that you'll ever find in the U.S. Army, in and out of the Army, because he taught every single one of our soldiers, NCOs, and officers how to hunt the good stuff, find the humor, and just keep moving. And it's a skill and it's an art to do that, because if you don't have that positive growth mindset, you won't be in a happy place.
Mm-hmm. Humor's key. I mean, humor's key for any occupation. I don't know if you know this, Dano. I used to be a North Carolina State Trooper as well. Mm-hmm. So when you come up on a scene, it's the same situation there, right? Bottom line is if you don't use humor to de-escalate, these, I hate to say, gory situations that are in, if you don't use humor to do that, you will get lost in that moment and be trapped there. So for myself, it's about humor. And, I cut up a lot, but when it's time to be serious, I turn the switch and I can be serious. But, when it's time to have humor it de-escalates that. It's a coping mechanism, right? So it's that mechanism that, Marty and I happen to do the same thing. We cope with humor. And that's why, our banter is so great. He knows that I'm not picking on him. It's nothing personal. It's just how we communicate with each other. And honestly, a lot of times I know what he's going to say before he picks on me.
Yeah. And that's one of the comments right here. You guys make a great team together since you bounce ideas, information, and jokes off of each other too. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about you guys too. Is you guys are always coming up right on off the top of your head. Always something funny. You guys always have me rolling when you're sending those messages, getting on each other, going back and forth. Yeah, that has me rolling all the time. So I want to move on to this next point, and it's about when you first started. What expectations did you have? When you first went into everything, and did it turn out the way that you thought it would from the very beginning?
Military?
Which
or life?
Let's take it in the life direction.
Yeah, real quick. I'll go, Marty, real fast. So for myself, I joined the military thinking that I was going to stay 20 years on active duty. That didn't happen for me. I had a break in service, went into Reserve National Guard, and ended up serving as a GS-11 civilian. So for me, it was about situations and basically making decisions for someone else, So my life, I'm an appeaser. So I like to make other people happy, and I enjoy doing that. And sometimes it could be a fault, right? And we joked around about this the other day. Marty was telling me that, kindness sometimes is a sign of weakness, right? And sometimes it's when you appease someone, you actually are making them more of an enabler as far as making them more actually weaker. So for myself, I went in thinking I was going to do 20 years in the military. I did not do that, but everything happens for a reason, because now Marty and I have joined, our paths across again. We're back on the same path with Joint Task Force 214. We're back in that. We're in with Lounge of Legends again. And the key, and I'll get off the box again, but the key is Marty and I lost contact with each other for almost 18 years, 16, right. 18 years. But the moment that we reconnected again, it was like we were young, steely-eyed lieutenants together again. So that's what it's about. That's why that bond is so strong, because we remember those moments. And I still remember Marty as the young MOAC know-it-all that would come in and just smarter than everybody in the room, and he really is. And he is one of the smartest guys in the room. Okay, I'll go ahead and give him a praise right now, because it's 6:53, July 1st. I will tell you that Marty is smart as hell. And I tell you, the thing about it though is he uses his smartness to help others, and that's the difference. He's always trying to help others. I reach back and I'm reading these books now. I stopped reading for 16 years before I reconnected with Marty. I'm picking up books now and gaining knowledge now. So anyway, I'm very passionate about relationships and friends, and make sure you surround yourself with good people. Dano, yourself, Sergeant Major Lamont Christian, Marty Martinez. Those are the folks. Lauren Michael Harris, Sebastian, Virginia. Those are the folks that you need to be surrounding yourself with that elevate and lift you together. Anyway, I'll get off the box. Didn't answer the question.
This is how you good. He had to take a sip of water. All right, let's hear this one.
Now, what was the question again?
Oh, man. Wow. Wow.
Now, so I joined the military, and what I wanted out of life turned out the way I wanted it, because I've always been scrappy. And because I've always been scrappy, I've always wanted to go against what they said that I couldn't do. And because they've always told me only a few people can manage to do that. Only people can do that. You can't do that because you're a Latino. You can't do that because you're this. Only they can do that. Well, I always wanted to say, no, I can do that. I can be airborne. I can be a ranger. I can be an officer. I can. And so because whether I got out of the military, I've zigged, I've zagged, the Lord has set me on a course. And because I've done that and because I've told them I can do this, then I have achieved what I've wanted to achieve.
Amazing. Boom. Mic drop.
We're about to do some more, Dano. It's going to be crazy.
And I can't wait. So what do you guys, we only have a few minutes left, and there's one more major question that I want to ask you guys. So I'm just going to ask it right now, and then we'll go into the future with everything that you have when it comes with Lounge with Legends and JTF 214. But here's the big major question, and we only have a few minutes left, unfortunately. But what is one piece of advice that you will give to somebody? They may be watching the show right now. They may be watching it on the replay. Whoever may need it. What is one piece of advice that you will give to them trying to get out of a bad place mentally?
You know, for me, it's the 3 L's. I told this on Lauren Michael Harris's show, Bathroom Obits, right? Let love lead. If you do it that way, if you do it every single time, it'll work out. Even if it doesn't seem like it's going to work, if you let love lead, I say the 3 L's, do it. It'll push you through. I rely a lot on my Ranger buddy. I rely heavily on him. I rely heavily on my belief in God. And then, of course, my family. Those are the 3 things that I rely on. So everything's in 3s for me, you know. So anyway.
Yeah, no, it is for me. It's just keep going. Just go one more. It's our friend Nick Bear. He says it. I say, Nick Bear. He's going to be one of our guests on our show. He's got 25 hours in a day. I'm going to write a book, 27 hours in a day, just to go 2 more than him.
I'm going to do 27.5.
No, but so one of the things that I learned in Ranger School and the best advice that I received before I went to U.S. Army Ranger School was be the last to sit down and the first to get up. And what that means is when you get a chance to take a break at a halt, the first thing everyone wants to do is just take that heavy ass rucksack, that backpack off and just flop. But if you're the last to get down, means you're going to make sure all your work is done, and then you take a break, and then you are the first one to get up to make sure everyone else is taken care of. So if you're an employee in a business, if you're a CEO or an entrepreneur, you need to make sure that all your people are taken care of. If you're a mom, you're a dad, you need to make sure that all your house is taken care of and all your children are taken care of. Then you're taken care of, and it kind of goes, as we say, you need to be the CEO of your own life before you can be the CEO of a company. You need to take charge of your own life before you can take charge of your own business. And that's what we talk about in our course with our positive growth mindset.
And then, good, what were you going to say, James?
That's it. I mean, that's what Joint Task Force 214 is all about. You know, do leadership. You know, be the person that you need to be, know how to do it, and then go do it. Just go out there and execute. And, you know, that Marty has, you know, Marty's a perfect person. If you want to reach out, honestly, he's a perfect person to help you guide you through the business. And, you know, I say him because I never want it to be about myself. Because it's, you know, Marty knows I say this. It's not about me. Never has been, never will be. Because I want what we can do together. We're so much stronger than me by myself. So anyway, go ahead, Dan. I'll cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good. And what can somebody expect when they go follow the JTF 214? The Joint Task Force 214.
Yeah, Joint Task Force 214. So the reason we call it, just for those, so it's 214. The reason it's called 214 is because when you get out of the military, the Army will give you a lovely document called a 214, DD 214, Department of Defense 214, discharge paperwork. So then you're the proud owner of that paperwork. Hence, Joint Task Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine 214. That makes sense now. Okay, so what you get when you come with Joint Task Force 214 is we're coming up right now with a series of courses. We've got our lead course, which our lead course, and let me look at the board real quick, is our laser-focused mindset to employ your military superpower so you can acquire speed through decisive, deliberate action and dominate the marketplace through decisive decision-making. So what we're going to help you, it's very veteran-focused that are getting out of the military. And what we talk about is the military will help transition you out. But when you hear transition, it's like a conveyor belt. They're just moving you out. What we want to do is help transform service members and help evolve them and help them progress to get to that next evolution of their life, that next chapter of their life. And if they want to be a veteran entrepreneur, if they want to be a businessman, a businesswoman, let's get your mindset. Let's get you laser focused. Let's turn your military superpowers like time management, project management, leadership skills, and let's turn that into business success. Let's get you mission focused and business ready. Let's get your, and if you want to be an entrepreneur and maybe you've been doing something, let's get your side hustle into your main hustle. Let's start getting that double comma club and get you making millions. That's what we do.
We don't want to walk behind you. We don't want to walk in front of you. We want to walk beside you.
Amazing. Amazing stuff. So guys, go check them out. They have their own television show on the E360 network, Lounge with Legends, and they go on every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the one that I know because I'm in the Eastern Standard Time. Go check them out. They are constantly a part of the Positivity Posse that we have on the Weekly Dose of Dano TV show. And I'm just super humbled and honored and blessed that you were able to come on today, to come on and share all of your
triple nickel.
Help everybody out. And the shout out to Triple Nickel as well. Phenomenal show. Thank you both for sharing. We can't even get off, and everybody's saying all this great stuff. So seriously, guys, thank you for everything that you've ever done for this country. Thank you for all the words and every second that you shared with me as well, because no word and no minute goes unnoticed when I'm around you guys. And you guys are very sincere. And I've met you guys in person too. So the same way that they are on the show is the same way that they are in real life too. So go check out their stuff. Super, super high value, high quality stuff. So just thank you guys so much for everything that you've done for us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on the show.
It's an honor, Dano. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then come back next week. We have another special guest, and this month is dedicated to the service members. So we're gonna play our little video, or a few videos, and we're gonna sign off. But thank you guys. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you guys for coming on the show for today. This was absolutely amazing. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I can't wait to see you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Thank you guys so much.
Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day.